How's it going, good friends? We are working on a scratch today, and I picked up some footage because I really think it's important for you to see how we go about deep scratches. We have a scratch that's almost through the clear. It is in some places into the base coat. So removing it completely is out of the question, of course. So we want marked improvement. And how do we do that? Well, it's not by running a dual action polisher or a rotary polisher back and forth multiple times with a ton of pressure and a ton of speed and spiking temperatures. It's by using a Trizact disc or a wet sanding sheet. 3000 grit is what we're going to use today. You don't need anything harsher than 3000 grit. 3000 grit, by the way, 4000 grit, 5000 grit is pretty much equivalent to a harsh cutting compound, so do not be scared to use it. I urge you guys to pick up test panels not only to learn the rotary, master a dual action polisher, but also practice removing scratches by wet sanding. Let's get started with the video. Working on a 2018 Nissan, and besides being metallic, knowing it's a Nissan, it's going to be thin, soft, clear coat. And this is a wide gash, and it starts right at the beginning of the rear passenger side door. So we're going to protect both edges of that door and the passenger front door as well with masking tape, because we're going to be sanding right up against that. This is a 3000 grit 3-inch Trizact disc. You don't need a Trizact disc. It's my favorite to use, but you could use a 3000 grit sheet of sandpaper. Get the area wet, spray the paper wet, and start to sand along with the whole length of the scratch. If you can use, if your other hand is free, you could use it to keep squirting water in that area. Why? That will keep the sandpaper disc or the sheet clean and keep the panel clean as you're sanding, so you don't cause any more imperfections as you're sanding and the grit gets stuck in there. What I have on my finger is what you're looking for, a white milky substance running down the panel. When you see that, you know you are sanding into the clear coat, and that's a good time then to go just a little bit further and then stop, rinse off the area, clean it, wipe it down, and check your progress. What we're doing here is making some improvements on the gashes and edges in the scratch, and we're going to get into that in a few short seconds. Primer, base coat, clear coat. Scratches like this we can remove completely, that you wouldn't be able to see. Doesn't matter what type of light there is, what type of angle you're at. The type of scratch we have that we're working on is like this, and even worse in some areas where it actually goes into the base coat. So with that said, we're looking for improvement. If you look at the scratch from the side, it would look jagged, just like this, all the way down, all the way back up. And our goal is to straighten out the jagged edges to make it look like this, so that light isn't coming in from different directions, bouncing off all the jagged edges. That's what actually makes the scratch look so awful. So we are sanding across the scratch and with the scratch to straighten out or smooth out those jagged edges. All right, we have sanded the length of a scratch, time to sand perpendicular, and we're going across the top edges of the scratch now to round them off as well. We're going to make a pass or two until we see the white milky substance, which is clear coat running down the panel. Then it's time to stop and check. When it comes to pressure, we're not putting 10 pounds per square inch on this little block here, just equivalent to a firm handshake. And I know I'm going to get asked where I get the block. That orange block there is left over from a 3M headlight restoration kit. You can make your own, and you can also use the sanding blocks, KXK. You can also order some from Amazon. I will put links down below for the paper and the blocks. This is what it looks like. This is what it should look like. Yeah, the scratch is still there. Obviously, we can't go after it completely. And the scuffed up area there, that's 3000 grit and can be easily removed with just a polishing pad, a non-aggressive polishing pad, and something like a one-step or a finishing polish. I'm going to use 3D1. I'm also going to use a Eurofiber 50/50 pad. All right, all we're going to have to do here is what is equal to 2 passes, which is a crisscross pattern. And we're going to make those passes just a little bit wider than our sand mark area. That will help blend the area in. Just a quick tip, this car is unprotected. However, if you have a car that has a ceramic coating and you're going after a scratch like this, everything will be exactly the same except for this step right here. You're going to have to polish the whole door to make everything look uniform. And you're going to have to coat the whole door again, not just that single area we worked on. That's it. That's all we're going to have to do there. Let me grab you guys, bring you in close as we wipe off the residue and check progress. You can see here, the hideous look from that scratch is now gone. It looks a lot better. It blends in. Yes, the scratch is still there. You're going to have to be at the perfect angle with the perfect amount of light to see that the scratch is still there. And I'll show that. Now, this is from back further away. You can see it as we get down. I'm going to get down. I'm actually going to have to lay down on the floor and use the shop light for you guys to see this. And there it is. But because we smoothed out all the jagged edges in and around the scratch, this is where you're going to have to be with the light at a perfect angle to see it. Okay, next, I'm never going to leave the area unprotected, and since it's not ceramic coated, I'm going to use Extreme Solutions Poly Seal. That is an easy to use polymer sealant. I love the gloss and the slickness that this provides and the durability. All you have to do is wet the panel. This is water activated. Have 2 microfibers, one dry one that's just damp. Run it under water, wring it out completely so it's not dripping wet. Spray into the damp microfiber. Apply the polymer sealant in crosshatch motions and wipe with your dry microfiber. Besides viewing under indoor lighting, I like to back it out and take a look in natural daylight or sunlight. Looks just as good out here. Not a lot of signs of that hideous scratch. Again, you'll have to be at that perfect angle to see it. A huge improvement without a lot of clear coat shaved off of there, and took no time at all. Okay guys, again, when I wet sand, I just sand until you see the clear, opaque, white, milky substance starting to come down from your area that you're sanding. Then you know you are removing actual clear coat. From there, you can clean off the area, check and see where you're at, look at the texture in the clear coat. You want to go until you start to see the texture in the clear coat that looks like orange peel in most cases to start to disappear. Then you know you're starting to cut some serious clear coat. And you don't want to go too far because you can't remove the scratch completely anyway. So why compromise the rest of the clear coat? The objective is to smooth out the jagged edges of the scratch. That's exactly what we did. Even when we pull it out in direct sunlight, very, very hard to tell it's there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Brian from Apex Detail. I'll catch you in the next video. And if you are enjoying the content and find it useful, please be sure to like, subscribe, share the content, hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when we have new videos.